What do you give away? Or do you not know? How do you find it? Oh, give it away. Do you not know? Where do you find it? A little afraid. A little know. Oh, oh, oh.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I see there are 5 of us, and it's exactly 30:30. So 2 are excused, and we are still missing whom? We are still missing Honza, Honza, and no longer Honza, and we are missing. And Yasmin actually announced he wants to excuse actually. So he's also not here. That means that we are actually present as expected. So I believe we can start. That's wonderful and very fast. So does our recording work? Alessandro, yeah. Wonderful. Well, seems that I'm not good in counting, but now it should be. Oh, we lost again. So we again lost Alessandro. Hope he joins. Okay, YouTube is fine according to Bastian, and seems that Tuesday is problematic day, so we shall probably have a discussion about the next meeting's catch-up. Okay, anyway, it's 20:32, and I'm officially opening the meeting. If there's no objection, I would do the chairing, and I would gladly ask you for helping with minutes of the meeting. So, is there anyone who would be willing to volunteer as the secretary of the meeting? Alessandra, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the recording is announced. Everything is here, and we have the first thing to do, and that's actually to approve the agenda, which is there on the line.
Awesome, Gary.
46 further on. That's the proposal. So I will just read it. First, the point registration in Luxembourg. Secondly, the proposal for meeting schedule. For council meeting schedule. Then I would like to discuss situation in the Ukraine. There is a fourth point whether we should have a new blockchain working group. Fifth point, report from the working groups. Sixth point, any other business. And the seventh point, next meeting. So the proposal is on line 46. Yes, I have not sent out the path. Okay, Alessandro did. So the path is provided in the Jitsi chat, and we can also spread it to our Mattermost channel. Wonderful. Are there any proposals how to amend or alternate this agenda proposal? Sorry, Cedric, you asked for the word, or?
Sorry, problem of sound in my part. Don't worry.
Okay. Seems there are no proposals for to change this agenda, so I would put it to the vote. The respective line to vote is on the line 59 plus, so you can vote yes, no, or abstain. If anyone needs to cast the vote verbally, please do so as well. Okay, I see 5 points in favor. Yeah, 5 points in favor. So that's where we are. Seems that the agenda will be approved. If there are some objections, I don't know who had not yet voted, but if you are not objecting the agenda, you can vote in favor. So the second point is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. I see the minutes. Do we have the respective line of Wikipedia as well? Okay. So if you want to approve the minutes, please vote on the line 66 plus. I see from Alessandro indicated yes. Okay, that refers to something else. But still, there seems to be at least five times in favor, one abstention of Jan, who was not here the last time. So I believe the minutes can be considered to be approved, and we can go straight forward to the first point of the agenda we have approved, and that's the registration in Luxembourg. Yeah, here should probably I refer on what's the state of play. So far I received the respective IDs I need to proceed from, if I'm not mistaken, Cedric, Etienne, and Peter, and of course I have my ID, which means that we still miss some IDs. I do apologize for anyone who provided me with the ID in the last year, as I deleted basically everything you provided me, so I do not record them. So please, if you have the, please provide me a scan of your ID so I can provide it first of all to the Luxembourgish register of final beneficiaries, secondly for the Luxembourgish Business Chamber, and lastly for Banca to actually get the access to the account. And as I agreed in the previous meeting, as soon as this administrative steps will be taken, I will delete that. Yeah, please do, Flory. Sorry for that. I just did it. So I think it's the way how it should be done. Is there anything more? Maybe Bastian, what's the state of our web page regarding the photos we have we wanted to provide there?
At first, good evening. It's just the first moment that I'm attending with audio at that meeting, so I do not know what's going on or what you did in the past. I write in the chat because Tuesdays are extremely complicated for German pilots. We are all busy on Tuesdays the whole evening, so it's not possible to attend those meetings on Tuesdays for me. But nevertheless, I tried my best today. And I got no photos for the webpage or nothing else. Nobody is communicate with me except Pieter. Pieter is doing very well and is very helpful for the business. That's for me. Thank you.
Okay. So I was a little bit more successful, but still that should be done as well, because you all want to be presented this nice picture to European public as those representing pirate movements on the European level. Okay. With this, I would probably finish the point registration in Luxembourg and consider that as a homework for the next time. I guess those who have their photos from the last year should probably not provide new ones. That's true. Yeah. Then we can go to the second point of the agenda, which is actually the task to propose some weekends for council meeting in this year. so that we were tasked to do so by the council. So this is so to say mandatory, and I believe we are actually supposed to do it until the end of February, which means that we need to agree on that on the dates today, and I will send out the invitations basically for the council meetings immediately, more or less to say. So how to approach it? I mean, like, I think generally we need to set two meetings. One of them should be someday in the summer or early or late spring, and the second one would be late Decemberish or Novemberish or something like that, to actually approve the budget and elect the new board. Are there any proposals? I mean, I'm just watching, let's say, the weekend of 28 or 29 of May. What do you think about that one? Sandra?
Yes, hello everyone. I think that previously, I mean, I can't remember if last year, but I'm pretty sure that we discussed something like non-official when we didn't have a mandate, a clear mandate from the council members. We approached something like four council meetings based, something like one per season. And I do agree with you that for sure we need, let's say, one at the end of the year. You call it Novemberish or Decemberish, something like this. End of November, early December, not to relate in the orbit of Christmas vacations, in order to prepare all the stuff regarding new elections and probably also budget approvals and so on. But still, in my opinion, it would be nice to have at least, if not four, if four are too much, at least three scheduled moment. One can be in the first 3 months of the year. The second can be in the 3-4 months. The second can be in the 3-4 months, every 3 or 3-4 months. So basically, in my opinion, if we have to fix one at the end of the year, I would suggest at least to have two more scheduled on a yearly basis, like to have 3 or 4 points of contact with our members. That's my proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other suggestions?
I just wanted to mention that the last week of May and first week of June is like the only 2 weeks in the whole year pretty much that I'm not available. But as for the frequency, either way is fine for me.
While thinking about the frequency, I think what should be taken into account is also the fact that during the summer seasons, usually we were quite poor in getting people together. I mean, even the board was unable to meet through July and August. So those are effectively blind months in all senses. That means that basically whatever work we do till the end of May, or let's say till the end of June, is we end the June most likely with the same let's say stage of our activities as we are in September. It will not move. Yeah. So I mean, like, my point would be, shouldn't we have the council meeting following, let's say, 3 full work, 3 months of full work of the board, so that we have actually results to present? Or do you understand my point? I mean, like, I would not like to do one in before the summer season, and then immediately another one after the summer season, to just say, okay, we haven't actually moved anything. Because my experience from the last year was that it was usually that way. March, June, November. Commenting on the March, there is an issue that actually, should we announce it now, it would have to be at the end of March, just to give our members proper time frame for actually do stuff. I mean, like, do proposals and so on. Cedric?
Yeah, for me, it's something to be good to have a more council meeting, but for the date for this year, June is normally a problem for French pirates because we have some elections. Not the presidential one because it's not the real one, but the parliament one. And it's in June, so we can't do both. But I totally agree with you with the summertime and the lack of work. I agree with Alessandro to have more meetings, council meetings. So yeah, this year it may be difficult to have them. But for me, there is something that we need to take care about because Alessandro said today, 40 minutes ago, that we are an executive office, not a political one. And as we can see with Ukraine, and we will speak about it later, we can't do political stuff in this time, in these frame times. So March, start of April maybe, and end of June, November. Why not?
Okay, Bastian, and then I would like to take floor.
Yes, first of all, it's new for me that we have a summer break, but as we saw this, that was not very good idea for the last year. That's one point. If you want to have a council meeting in March, you have to hurry up because we have the 22nd of February. If you calculate months for invitation, we have to invite today. So it makes no sense to discuss March. June is a good idea. Maybe, of course, July can be a good idea. And I want to mention that we have a Pirate Summer Camp in Poland, so maybe we can mix it up. And November, I don't care, but normally in November we have this regular council meeting for elections. So we have only one choice to do it in the midterms. I think it's a good idea to have it in July or May. And that's the only possibility from my point of view, so that we have an additional council meeting in May or in July, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I may just have a comment. The deadline for actually counting the party to be registered for provided with funding from the European Parliament is, I believe, the end of September. So basically, what we are supposed to do until the end of September is to provide actually all the respective IDs, forms, and shit in order to actually get the funding for this year. So maybe it could make sense to actually have a council meeting that would approve admission of a member or change of the statutes in September, because that's actually a time slot which could theoretically allow us to make this deadline. Of course, I don't promise that we will be able to finish all the requirements until that point, but we should definitely try to do so. So for that reason, it would make sense to have actually a time slot reserved for September. Maybe it's not necessarily needed to have a big council meeting. Could be considered sort of like auxiliary, or like, yeah, a smaller one, shorter one, but maybe it would make sense to have it just to approve some administrative tasks. Alessandro?
Well, actually, we could considering two things. The first is why we had this mandate from the council is just to have just say fixed point right in our agenda, in order that every year we don't have to invent the wheel. And so, because basically it could be that we are a lot, but it could be that everyone can have its own problem. Of course, if we know that, for instance, every let's say June in Czech Republic you have a problem, we will skip it, right? But the thing is, it could make sense to have to set up a calendar. Let's say that it could be even for set up by 4 appointments. Let's say it could be early March each year, early June each year, early September each year, and early December each year. For instance, I'm just proposing like every 3 months, right? And of course, in this way, we can also have an exception of the running year that due to, of course, the lack of time, the council meeting scheduled for March, let's say early March, the spring meeting or whatever in coming spring will be withdrawn this year. But let's say that we are just try to have this rule. In this way, we can have not waste time for, because I agree with Bastian that having dropping out the whole summer is not a good idea. So maybe we can, let's say, take the occasion if we have the meeting in September each year to, let's say, to rejoin to our beloved members in order to not to arrive into December like the last meeting of the year with all stuff undone, or let's say nothing discussed or nothing. It's just to have some, I don't know, like all the parliaments that we are experienced to have, like scheduled sessions, you know. So we know that in September, we know that in June, early June or early March, we have the spring, we have the summer, we have the early, let's say, autumn and the early winter season. It could be, I mean, something that works, in my opinion.
Well, from my point, why not? I mean, like, I'm not objecting the idea, so maybe we can just schedule it now for, let's say, early June or late May, so that it does not collide with the French election. Then September, and then this Novemberish, Decemberish thing, and we can do sort of like evaluation in December, whether the council is actually satisfied with the schedule or whether they want to move somewhere else. And if they would be satisfied, and we go for another council meeting in March 2023. Yeah. Okay, so are there any objections, or can we take this as let's say high level plan and try to start setting the exact dates? Since there are no objections, so I would take it as high level plan further on and move to setting up the exact dates. So one option from my point of view, and now it's question whether it fits to, let's say, plans of French pirates, would be 28, 29 of May. That or other option would be 4, 5 of July. Sorry, June. Confused. English calendar. Any preferences?
I think it is okay, but in the last weekend of May, the German pirates have their Bundesparteitag or their General Assembly. Maybe it's don't affect you, but it's not a good idea to have a council meeting to that big General Assembly. I think it's a good idea to have it in June, midterms June. I think that's will fits all. Thank you.
Yeah, the midterm June's okay. That's a wallet point. I'm just checking with Czech Party. Seems that it's likely that there will be National Committee meeting in May. So I'm slightly tending also to move it to June. Any idea about when the Icelandic pirates have their general assemblies and the Luxembourgish? I see a comment regarding the elections. It should happen at 12 and 19 of June, which really makes it complicated. Would it make actually sense to do it on 4th/5th of June, or is it like the week before the election too harsh from French point of view? It's too harsh. Ooh. Would that be an option that we move to and move our discussion to, let's say, May the 21st? I mean, the week before the German General Assembly. So we are not really in June, but
Unfortunately, there's the Pirate Security Conference, which is online.
shit.
Well, I make a proposal. I think it's a good idea to have this schedule from June and July, and then we have to point out where our other important events are, so that we can fix it, sort out what's the free weekend. Maybe that makes sense. Can provide it maybe on the weekend for you, so that you see the schedule or the calendar, and then you can put no, there's no go because why there's our election, whatever. Maybe it's the best way to sort it out, right?
So like doodling.
Yeah, it's not really doodling, but it's like doodling. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is that we need to finish this task, or we were tasked to finish this task before the end of February, which means the next council meeting is too late. Board meeting, sorry. I'm just confused. So
yeah, you can't arrange it for March, but you can arrange it for April. I think that's not that problem.
So we should have a meeting in April and September. You say?
Yeah, because I think it's my view that we have not really important events in April and neither in September. I think so. Maybe it's fits all. I have no idea, but I think it's a possibility. And if you use it first weekend on April, we have to hurry up for invitation and something.
Of course. Well, the invitation will anyway have to happen during this week because we need to basically like invite people for the whole year for the council meetings. So, okay, Alessandro, please.
Yes, I think that April, September, December, if we want to move on a 3 times per year basis, it could fit most of our needs. I mean, we will have the so famous last meeting of the year for elections and budget. We have a bit more time than yeah, of course. I agree with Cedric, but the thing is that maybe we have still after the new board election at least 3-4 months, plain months, in order to move forward. And then we have the September meeting that fits this year purpose that Mikuláš said before, the registration of the new let's say stuff, and it's almost, let's say, if not a midterm, it's almost a midterm meeting where we can I would prefer 4, but I also 3, in my opinion. It's pretty a good 3 scheduled meetings is better than 2 or 1 unscheduled meeting.
Yeah, there is a discussion ongoing regarding whether we should ask our member parties. I will just comment on that. We did it in past, and my feeling was that the feedback that we were provided with was basically horrible. I mean, like we got mostly no feedback. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. So after this experience, I tend to be a little bit directive in this sense and just say it will happen. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Cedric?
Yeah. I understand your point to be directive, really. Because when you have no feedback, you need to decide, and because if you don't decide, you will be accountable for that. So yeah, I understand that. But it was the point of Alessandro, the main point of Alessandro about participation, and so on to search for participation. So maybe, and this is the point with having forum discussion tools, for example. There is some lack of discussion, and maybe with tools and the will to participate, and because, for example, France is very willing to do that. Maybe we will have more participation, more answers to this question with a permanent discussion tool. And this is one of our tasks also. So maybe we can do both. And we need to show to our members that democracy is about participation. We can't be Democrats with strong direction. This is my point.
Yeah, maybe a solution would be that for now we would be directive, and maybe when the people gather in the meeting, we can ask, well, are you satisfied with the schedule we have actually proposed? I mean, like, we can have this discussion or time slot reserved for this discussion also within the council meeting. I'm just replying to Alessandro's comment in the Jitsi chat, suggesting to do both, to start to be directive and then set up this asynchronous meetings. And of course, yes, we need to set up the tool for asynchronous communication. That's another task we have from the council. Okay, I see just thumbs up from Alessandro in the Jitsi chat and no objections. So I think we can again move to, or we are again kind of like pre-agreed on what shall happen, and we can again come back to discuss the dates. So how about the April the 23rd and 24th? It should be digestible, isn't it? Is there no objections?
It's the week after Easter, right?
Oh, when are the Easter? It's too complicated question for me.
Ah, it's just a week before.
Ah, that's the week after. Yeah, true. You are right.
Okay, that sounds fine.
No objections from my point.
Okay, then seems there is an agreement on the April's date. It's Cedric's birthday. Okay, cool. We can celebrate it as a point of agenda. You are going to be the president, aren't you? Well, never mind. So this is going to be the first date, the April 23rd, 24th, and hopefully we will manage within one day. Any specific agenda I shall announce for that meeting. I guess we should have a discussion regarding the statute changes of council meeting. Should there be some, and there should be election of code of conduct council. Should there be? Yeah, that's mandatory anyway. So because it's not fulfilled. Anything more that should be added to the agenda of that meeting? So standard points. I mean, admission of the new members, motions from members, and so on. I see. Yeah, the agenda can be discussed another time. So we just announced that it will happen. September. How about September? By the way, hi Exile, great to see you here. What do you think about 24th and 25th of September? Are there any objections regarding this one? Resignation day of your French new president.
Yeah, it's for my schedule. It's too far away, so I cannot. I cannot comment anything to that. My schedule is empty on this weekend, but it means nothing because it's in 7 months. In 7 months, the Earth can burn up. So other things can happen. Putin is going to Berlin or whatever. Yeah, no objection to that, but it's too far away from now.
Yeah. I hope the Czech municipal election will take place someday at the beginning of October. So this is going to happen 2 weeks or a week before Czech municipal election, which is of course not great. We don't have any elections in September for the moment in France. Are there any election in Germany? By the way, there could be something for regions, isn't it? Or for Bundesländer.
Let me check that.
Alternate. 9 of October there should be Niedersachsen. And that's it. In May there are 2, Schleswig-Holstein and North Rhine-Westphalia, but that's fine for us. Okay, so that should be safe also for Germany. I have no clue. Yeah, Iceland had elected last year. Luxembourg will. When the Luxembourg will vote. Luxembourg election. Next Luxembourg general election shall happen by 2023. So they have not yet announced. And Slovenia will have it in April, so that's resolved. Actually, that's a good question. When we kind of like ignore the fact that Yasmin was not present. Slovenia national election and parliamentary election 24th of April. Oh shit. Poor Yasmin. We planned it in the way that he will actually just finish the campaign and cast his vote while being in the council meeting. Okay. It's not perfect, but yeah. Okay. So, is there any objection against September 24th, 25th? Alessandro?
I will not object, but the thing is that if we are doing this in order to have the chance to admit some new members or changing some I don't know, something in order to register the party, and it's really at the end of September, it seems that we are running a bit late. I would prefer to do it at least a week before, but it's up to you, Nicolas. You know better than me. If you think that it's safe, for me, everything ran fine in September. But if I were you, I would prefer to do it a week earlier than a week later.
I'm honestly not sure whether it's better to actually. What is a bigger task? Because one part of the story is let's have the newly admitted party. Let's let it approve the admission or extension, while the other task is let's fill the forms and submit it. And I mean, like, what will be the issue? Should we have some party admitted at that particular council meeting? That we basically will have to get a scan of the ID from the respective representative of that party and submit it to the authority. Well, maybe it's the week before is a safer solution. I mean, I can imagine that we will submit the forms in advance and just verify when the council meeting happens, if we are not safe. But maybe yeah, like the 17th and 18th of September are safer solutions. And also it gives some more space for those who are participating in Czech municipal election and don't want to be dragged from the campaign. Okay, 17 and 18th, yeah? Any objections? Seems not to be the case, so let's go to the next one, which is, so how about the last week of November, which is the 26th and 27th of November? What do you think about that one? Are there any? Is there any opposition to this week? Yeah, it's only 2 months after, but that's more or less a necessary outcome. And yeah, last year when we had this discussion, there was kind of like objection that we should not plan it immediately before the Christmas, because everyone is already like preparing and cooking and doing shit like that, and people do not like to gather for political meetings. So December 3rd and 4th, that would be the alternative. Okay. So 3 months later. So maybe plan it for December 3rd and 4th. Does it make sense? Okay, are there any objections to December 3rd and 4th? Seems not to be the case, so I would consider that to be consensually approved. And we are there where we need to be, and the decision is kind of like taken. Yeah, December, yeah, you will have a problem. Okay, sorry for that. I mean, like, hope it will not be broader problem. Okay, so the decision is taken. I will inform the council that we have actually scheduled the meetings, and we are looking forward to their participation. And I would go to the third point of the agenda, which is the situation in the Ukraine. Just to why to discuss it? I mean, this board actually, or the board in the previous terms, took some political decisions. Of course, I do realize that we are the situation is always kind of like tricky, because taking let's say political statements is a bit like problematic, but in the past we, for example, condemned behavior of one of the pirate members that was running for the European Parliament. We did some statements regarding the COVID pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Honzo, you can correct me. So theoretically, we have some precedentials regarding we could take political decisions. So we are generally not doing that too often. And I know there are some members of this board who run with the in the board election with the intention to actually put forward some statements and push for, let's say, more political board. Of course, I do recognize there is some let's say reluctance to go in that direction. So please do not take my idea to actually have this discussion to as my push to have it have decision at any cost. I just had the feeling that this is a place where we should have such a discussion whether such a statement is needed. Basically, why I do think it should happen is are the events from yesterday's evening and night. Basically, what you could see and was probably transmitted to a lot of media. Yesterday, Vladimir Putin had really like an outrageous speech regarding territorial claims of Russia, and effectively dismissing Ukrainian state sovereignty. This speech was full of very weird claims, but it was finalized with clear statement of recognition of so-called Luhansk and Donetsk Republic, which are currently part of Ukrainian territory. What happened subsequently through the night was that Russian army entered those two territories, effectively like violating Ukrainian territorial integrity. What I have observed as, let's say, reaction, and was more or less unissimo reaction of all the political forces across the continent, except of far right and far left, was condemnation of those actions on the basis of violation of international law, which it's clear. I mean, like, you can't like invade other countries. I have seen that a lot of pirates, like in the individuals, express their solidarity with Ukraine. I have seen a lot of other politicians. I have seen even some member parties, namely at least the German Pirate Party, announced on Twitter their condemnation of this violation of Ukrainian territorial integrity. Also, the Czech Pirate Party did so. I'm not sure about the others, but generally my feeling was that there is kind of strong consensus among the pirate movement that this should not happen. And my feeling is that at this point it's too, let's say, important event so that we should consider to have a statement, at least a short one, on the European level. I mean, like from the European Pirate Party. I think it is kind of like natural to condemn violation of the international law, because I believe pirates do respect the international law. I believe we are fine with condemning aggression and asking for sanctions against those responsible for war crimes. That's definitely possible, or should be possible from my point of view. And maybe an expression of solidarity with the victims of conflict is, or a demand for peaceful solution, are also something we should have the mandate for. But of course, I mean, like, I can understand if there are feelings that we should not take political statements at all, then we can stay silent. So that's my actually thinking how I came to this discussion, and now I'm stopping my talk and giving the floor to first Alessandro and then Bastian.
No, Bastian, please go ahead. I forgot to. I will speak later.
Okay. Well, I'm in favor of discussing the Ukraine problem, but then we should also discuss the whole world order, because the Ukraine problem is just only a symptom. My opinion, completely unsuitable for board meeting. I think we can invite for a PPEU-wide discussion for that, and to collect many opinions. I think there are a spread of opinions, but we should write a blog post or something, because international law has been questioned. So that's my point of view. But we should express our opinion that the questioning of international law is no way to what we would want to support. But we should discuss the whole problem of Ukraine and the world order. We see that a lot of things are changing now, and I think we have to find out what the opinion of our members are. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandro.
Yes, I totally agree with Bastian. And I also would like to say one important thing, that generally speaking, condemning something is probably easy. Something also born. I don't want to take part. I mean, I don't want to defend any use of force, brute force, or war, whatever. I was against war each time it happened. Still, it doesn't mean that sometimes it happens against my will. The thing is, the situation is complex, and also when you're saying that Russian latest act is violating something, it means that you actually already judge it. But still, in order to judge, it should be a judge and a process, right? So the situation is, in my opinion, not clear. Not clear from the information that we have. And this is why we shouldn't, in my opinion, take a clear position. But we should, what we should do is to it's actually I think that what we need is to point out that the situation in Europe is now very complicated. It's very complicated because the European community has no probably the power that we would like that the Europeans have. It's complicated because also some kind of Europe is part of the NATO alliance and some other is not. Politics is mixed up with a lot of international economics stuff regarding, for instance, the latest gas stream, the so famous Nord 2. And in my opinion, it's very, very simple. It's still, I mean, it's something that we should avoid to simplify the situation, simply condemn the fact that Putin recognized the independence of Donbass and another Ukraine region. Of course, this doesn't mean that Russia is fully absolved by anything. But the thing is that, in my opinion, we should avoid to make a clear statement, because the situation first is not clear, and second, we should point out in another way. We should point out that actually Europe is again and again let's say, playground for a lot of international and world interests that are not basically played on Europeans in Europeans' favor. That's my point.
Thank you. Should I comment from my personal point of view? I'm absolutely disgusted about the fact that Europe again become battleground for great powers, especially concerning that actually the actual decision making is being taken more or less on bilateral base between the US and Russian president. This is kind of like weird, and I think we as parts should put effort in order to change this, because this has nothing to do with democratic rights of citizens of this continent, because first of all, citizens of this continent do not elect the US president, and secondly, there are no elections or no free elections in Russia. So that has really nothing to do with this democracy for Europeans. My point, and where I think we could be kind of like minimalistic, was the fact that Putin's speech was clearly violation of Article 2 of UN Charter. I mean, like, United Nations actually requests all the members to settle their international disputes by peaceful means, and refrain them from using the force against the territorial integrity or independence of any state. So, I mean, like, reinforcing separatist regions within the other member states of the United Nations is, from my point of view, the violation, and that's something that was stated more or less by most of the political forces. Of course, I think we could easily agree on the fact that Europe shall be more, let's say, autonomous in the sense of decision making and ready to decide on itself. But yeah, maybe it's too hard to find a common ground for such a statement. To answer your question whether the Ukrainian border is clear, I believe the Ukrainian border was defined by Budapest Memorandum, or by Budapest Memorandum. It was clearly guaranteed by Russia, United States, and United Kingdom, and recognized after the Soviet Union dissolution. I mean, like, the Ukrainian Soviet Republic existed even before the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and actually had membership within the United Nations. So it was kind of like recognized already previously, and its territory was defined by the law since that time. And especially this Budapest Memorandum resulted into recognition of the borders and Ukrainian territorial integrity in exchange for Ukraine giving up on the nuclear weapons. I mean, like, they gave up on nuclear weapons and were promised by Russians to be respected. And I mean, from the UN point of view, Donbas territory was for sure recognized as part of Ukraine. I was answering questions from Alessandro in the chat. Yeah, I see a comment from Cedric that Russia, to solve the problem, should have used the United Nations, but they didn't. True. Alessandro?
Yeah, I just want to add a little comment. Of course, borders are a clear statement that defines states, but as we are European, we perfectly know, exactly know in all our countries that borders is one of the most unreliable thing in Europe. You have borders between France and Germany, and people who live there are really mixed up. We have borders between Belarus and Poland, and literally there are many people, families. What I mean is that families, people are living there are not divided by borders, right? That's why I don't want to mention people that I personally know that are living in Ukraine that are Russian and vice versa, right? So each time we have a border is always a mark in a map, but people are not a mark in a map. The situation is more complicated. And what I believe for sure is that we, even you, Miklos, that are maybe the most, informed, well informed, because of many reasons, we all have a real partial access to the true information. That's my point of view.
I see. Well, that's very fair. I mean, I do agree. Hansa, please.
Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Okay, well, I have a lot of, let's say, experience with the Ukrainian students because I was studying at this German-Polish university in Eastern Frankfurt on the Oder, and we had like a let's say a whole department for Ukrainian history, and yeah, like the thing is because the Ukrainian identity is, let's say, it's like they've in a way it's still being built, like the national identity. It's like I would say they're at they're at a similar stage of establishing the national identity as Germans sometime in 19th century maybe. Since well, there were some developments in 19th century in Ukraine as well during like the Tsarist times, but that mostly just got stamped out. And during the Soviet times, it kind of developed in a strange way, but not as well. It's well, the long story short, it's very different national identity from what we know from the West, especially like the French or the Italians, since there was very aggressive nation building in France or Italy in 19th century, where like the, let's say, regional identities were sometimes even maybe forcibly replaced by like the one overriding national identity. In Ukraine, this is very complicated, especially since I mean you can I share this screen that's from this Russian TV talk show 60 Minutes, that it's mostly the Western Ukraine which had the most development of this national identity, but at the same time those parts are historically contested by Poland, or used to be historically contested by Poland. So in a sense, like the real center for the Ukrainian identity is not Kiev, but it's more like it's much more it's Lviv and like these Western cities, for a variety of reasons. While the eastern part just kind of just is along for the ride, so to speak. Like it wasn't historically even considered Ukraine like several centuries ago, and nowadays it's very much mixed Ukrainian and Russian. And what the Ukrainians have been trying to do was like to establish a similar identity to what like the French or the Czechs or the Polish have, which is like this one identity that is overriding these regional identities, but that didn't go very well with the Russians. And to be honest, like a lot of what they've been attempting to do is sometimes very aggressive. Like maybe the German member of the board might have heard about this, but there used to be this Ukrainian German historian commission who were writing, they were doing like joint projects between Ukrainian and German historians. And 2 years ago, or I think 1.5 years ago, the Ukrainians unilaterally said they're not working anymore in this because they think that the German historians are too pro-Russian. So there's this they have just very let's say very assertive idea of what Ukrainian identity should be, and they're not really allowing anyone else to let's say have any input in that, and so that's not very helping in the situation when you have so many Russians in your country who are looking towards this huge country at your borders with this huge army. And so in a way, like it's 8 years since 2014, the Ukrainians just the government and the cultural institutions just in a way squandered the time. Like they could have maybe established some sort of new status quo that's like inclusive of everyone, but they mostly just tried to remake everyone to be the standard Ukrainian, and it just didn't happen. So yeah, so long story short, like this is just a very confused matter. When it comes to, of course, when it comes to internationally recognizing borders, there should be something that we as pirates should be opposed against anyone unilaterally rewriting the borders without consent of the other parties. But yeah, I mean, I would refrain from making any definitive statements about like Donbas or Crimea are like intrinsically Ukrainian kind of lands since forever or something. Like it's just a very messy situation, and what we should demand is that international borders should be respected unless there's some kind of a consensual agreement. Yeah, sorry for the rant. Cedric was wanting to speak.
If I may, maybe for shortening of the discussion, I wouldn't go for like discussion regarding the national composition of Ukraine, because that would take hours. I would maybe just simply start by the topic of, do we want to actually condemn the violation of the territorial integrity or not? Because otherwise we wouldn't move. I mean, this is fucking complicated what happened there for last 1,000 years. Cedric, sorry, I took the word instead of you.
You are the chair president, so don't worry. In fact, I want to second all of you because yes, it's complicated. But I want to second Jan about pirates are against borders, and this is a matter of borders. So yeah, it's complicated, but. I totally agree that there is a problem with military force and country integrity. And even if we are for people, even if we want the people to be autonomous, the state to be independent, the people have the right to choose if they want to be to Ukraine, to be to Russia, but the weapons must be silent for that. And in my point of view, this is the most difficult part to be objective with these matters when the Russians use their weapons. So we can agree that Ukrainians want to be Russian at some point, And because we have this kind of discussion, even in France, with, for example, with the Corse or Basque people, and we need to speak freely about that, but the weapons must be silent for that.
Yeah, I think we have agreed on, let's say, the point that it should be peaceful. There is an important comment from Alessandro that both sides use the weapons, not only the Russians, which is to a degree true, but at least recording from the reports of OBSE, I mean, like the international observer body. Basically, the frequency of arm fire is quite higher from the Russian side. I mean, like currently it stays that way, that they are kind of like trying to provoke the Ukrainian side, while some of the Ukrainian soldiers, in my understanding, they retailed, while most of them are not doing so, as they are ordered not to do so. That's my understanding, but I have to admit both sides kind of like at least once used the weapons. That's true. Hanzo?
Alexandro has a raised hand.
Ah, sorry.
Nope. Sorry, I made a mistake.
Okay, more to the point as to the weapons, since this isn't even now it's not a declared war, so it would be a fallacy to speak about two sides, because to one side the rebels are not internationally recognized army, and they surely not are taking any time with observing like Geneva Conventions or anything else, since there's a lot of there. I mean, it's pretty widely known that they routinely torture prisoners or sometimes even kill them. So this is an insurgent army that is fighting against the official Ukrainian army. So so you shouldn't view it as a like two sides that are maybe like they're using weapons against each other. It's still from the view of the international law, this is the Ukrainian army lawfully using weapons against an armed insurgency inside its borders.
I see. We are discussing the issue, let's say, almost half an hour. May I ask you, for short opinion poll, whether it does make sense to try to reach sort of like a consensus on having a statement, or whether we should skip that without having a statement? I mean, just as orientation, who would be in favor of having some statement? Is there someone except of me? I see hand risen from Alessandro, from Honza, from Peter. Okay. Anyone else? Depends on the statement. Well, I'm asking especially because whether we shall spend more time to actually try to find a consensual version of the statement, or whether we just skip it, because that's of course another possibility. Who does think it would be better to skip this discussion and do not issue any statement? Flori?
Yes, it should be really great and helpful to have a statement for the French Party, because we don't have any. It's really difficult to have a position about this situation. So yes, we thought we should just report this discussion, or having this discussion on the forum, maybe, or in an asynchronous way, to maybe have the advice of other parties in Europe, and not just the present one. not just the persons who are here today. And having a statement, I think it will be cool. It will be great, not just cool, but great to have a statement for the 2 or 3 weeks, next week.
Do you mean like to issue a statement in upcoming 2 or 3 weeks, or do you mean to have statement issued now so that you can use it for upcoming 2-3 weeks?
No, we should. The situation will not. I think the situation in Russia and in Ukraine will be not the same, but it will. It will. I think it will change a lot in few days. I don't know how, but it will be really helpful for us in France to have, I don't know, advices of the European para parties and not just the person here. And I think in order to have these advices, we have to wait and to ask people, and not just us, to ask people about the situation and maybe having a vote. It will be really helpful also to have an asynchronous tool. Yes, not a statement right now because we can't do that. We are just an executive board, but a statement in maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. I don't know. I just propose.
Okay, so from the procedural point of view, would it make sense to you to actually send out, let's say, a proposal for a statement to put it to the vote for the council?
Why not?
Yeah, I've seen a hand risen from Bastian.
Yes, to be honest, the board is the highest authority between council meetings, and we are the executives. So it's if we want to make a statement, then it's a duty from the board or of the board to make a statement. You can't make a statement to a current problem which is changing in days, next weeks, months, whatever. And you can make a statement with the whole system, the whole problem in the world. You have to make a statement tomorrow, and other corona statements are quite unusual. We have pads. We can open a pad, and we can work together until tomorrow evening, and then we have a discussion about the result of that pad, and then we can say as a board that we want to support or not. But we cannot discuss it with the members, with the world, and with the whatever instances in the world to have an idea of what we have to say, what we may say in the future. We are the board, and we have to decide today, do we want to place a statement, or do we want to not to place a statement? If we want to place a statement, we have to do as soon as possible, and it's a duty for tomorrow, and not for the next week or asynchronous meetings in the hell or whatever, what I haven't. So it makes no sense to discuss it with all the people we know. It makes sense to discuss it with the board, and every guy can listen to our board meetings and have a look on our pads. So it's easy. If we want to have it in the next week, we have a totally change a situation maybe. So it makes no sense to do that next week or next week after next week. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. We need to. We could, should we do it? It would probably be better to do it fast. Okay, there could be procedure which would work that way, that we now set a pad. Basically, there would be a working group to actually that will be tasked to finalize the statement proposal, and then we could have a vote on that statement as it will be prepared. There would be an option. Option A would be the board would vote. Option B would be the council would vote. A statement for saying what?
Well, the council has no speaker. The speaker is a board. So it makes no sense to that the council will formulate some things. But we have a media group, and I think the media group is not only for graphics; they are also for content. And I think if the media group will help us, it would be appreciate it very much to prepare a pad, and then the board will look upon that and will decide what's their opinion. We can do that tomorrow, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so it would be resolved on the ground of the media group. I see discussion in the chat regarding a statement for saying what. Well, that's a good question. I mean, like, we maybe perceive differently what is supposed to be said under such circumstances. I mean, like, make peace not war is maybe a statement that could be given. Of course, we could give a statement sort of like, please Russia, don't attack Ukraine. That's a little bit different statement. I mean, there are more options which and that the content could be discussed within the working group. Okay, so to simplify it, should we call for the working group to actually prepare a draft statement? Could we have a vote on that particular issue, whether there should be a working group to prepare a statement or not? Maybe a procedural vote will probably simplify that. Flori?
Yes, I repeat my question. Please wait. I repeat my question. Please, what are we saying in this statement? Because I don't know, we are agree here, or just agree about make peace not war, or make love not war, but what are we saying in this statement? We have to discuss before.
Yeah. That's.
I agree with Bastian. We are not just executive board, so we have to make statements without asking people. I don't agree with that. I think we should before discuss with people to have the agreement or the advices of people, not just making a statement for saying what.
Sorry. Maybe I'm just like a step behind. My idea was to actually have a vote whether we should call a working group where we would ask the people what type of statement shall actually be prepared, and then vote on the statement itself. I mean, like we can also now decide. Okay, let's not call any working group, and then this whole procedure of discussion what shall be stated will not even happen, because we will not prepare any statement, if you understand my intention. I was just willing to clarify whether there is even like majority in favor of like having this discussion.
Okay, Nicholas, it's okay. I didn't understand. So okay, for the working group, for just thinking about what we are saying in the statement, but to discuss about before.
So now we are voting. Shall we have actually a discussion about that, or shall we scrap it completely? Yeah, is it clear what is to be voted?
Yes, it's okay.
So the vote is ongoing now in the pad on the line 103. Okay. Currently, I see that there are 6 times in favor of having the discussion or setting up a working group for that purpose, and 1 no. So I think we are agreed, or we have voted to have actually set up a working group. Now, another vote. Should there would be a proposal from that working group? Should it be approved by the board or the council? I think in let's say parallel vote. So those are 2 options. Probably we are now not talking about yes and no, but rather board or the council.
Well, if I may, that's a problem because the council meeting is not a permanent assembly. But they have no speaker. There's no. It's a separate entity, but they are not for an entity who has a president, whatever, and makes speeches or whatever and comments. They are only acting in general assemblies or council meetings. So it makes no sense to give it to the council. It makes sense to ask the council if there are objections. I would appreciate it very much to do that, but we can take it in account what if there are objections to our text or the text of the working group. That would be fine, and we are transparent working, so everybody can see what we are doing. So, but to have a statement approved by the council, it makes no sense because we have no statutes for that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably true if I understand correctly. Cedric, sorry.
Yes, I totally disagree with Bastian. We know which country are part of the PPEU, so we can ask them. We know the balance of power for each country, so we can make a vote with the good power for each people to vote. And because it's a big stuff, it's not only executive matter. I totally agree with Alessandro and Flori saying that this is a political issue, not only executive stuff. It's not basic stuff. It's war, it's weapons, it's death, it's democracy. And from my point of view, having the council voting for that, it's a better statement than the board. Yes, we are the board, but resistance is not futile.
Well, we have no rule in the statutes that the council can make postal votes in between council meetings. So we can change the statutes for the future. By my point of view, it makes no sense, but if we can discuss that later. But nowadays, we have no possibility that the council meeting can make postal votes, and that's it. Therefore, we have a board. Otherwise, we can cancel the board and the council will do everything. Thank you.
Okay. See hand raising from Cedric and Alessandro. I don't know what's the first. Or sorry, Alessandro, not just Cedric.
Yes. My main problem with that is we as parents, maybe only in France, it seems, we are fighting against politicals that are elected for a mandate. And between this time, the citizens can't take decisions. And doing this kind of behavior inside the PPEU, it takes my guests and nearly break them, because we fight against that, and we hear right now that we need to act like that. It's disturbing, in fact. Yes, it's too disturbing.
Okay, there are obviously different approaches how to resolve it, because in some parties the boards are really like allowed to take such statements, while in some other parties there is more reluctance to allow that. Maybe could we, as interim solution, agree that we will consult the council and put forward or as the board respect the will of the council? Would it be working for you?
Yes, sorry, Alessandro. Yes, that was my point of view. We take it into account is the right wording. And I think if a council works together and say is no-go, no board will oppose to that. Thank you.
May I share just 3 words?
Oh, yeah, please, Alessandro.
Yeah, sorry. I agree on what Cedric and Flori are arguing, and I also agree with Bastian, meaning that we are not allowed to take this. I mean, in this occasion, for me, it's a political decision. It's not just a statement regarding something, because it's controversial and it's very critical, and it's really what comes out to politics. And I consider myself an executive member. Even, of course, we are all into politics, and hopefully we are building up the political vision. But still, this is a really political matter, and I would like to prepare. Something like this, especially the content, not just making the decision or not. So I would never. That's why I vote against. You see, I vote against the working group, because I know that we will have then this problem. Also, I think that I agree with Bastian that makes really no sense, and probably Bastian is right 100% that we don't have now the proper, let's say, not legal even, but also procedures to let the council vote on it. But this is exactly point out the other mandate that we have, and this is really executive, to establish in a synchronous way, just in order to take, let's say, like if you consider our council, our little parliament, right? And we are just the government, let's say. It's a great occasion to let people participate on it, right? I do this against my will, because I know that probably I will be in total minority, I mean, in opinion, but I would like to speak on this parliament as a member of the executive and say, I would suggest this. In my opinion, this kind of occasion, because really, to be honest, we will not change the course of the event with a statement or without a statement, right? We know it. But this is a great exercise to practice our core values and to improve our current situation. So let's say in the statement, I will defend not Russians or Ukraine, but I will defend people that lives there in order to get their will respect without be killed, right? And freedom, right? Freedom of being part of maybe a bigger or a less a smaller country, right? But still, this is a good occasion to move forward, right? So we are in a bit cul-de-sac, because of course we vote in favor of the statement, so we will have a working group, but still we can have the exercise of preparing the statement, preparing the working group, plus just try to put another let's say, change the current situation in order to let our little parliament be heard on it. This doesn't mean that the statement will never come, in my opinion.
Thank you for that. I mean, like, yes, of course. I mean, of course, it's sort of like an exercise because honestly, we don't have a process. This is a major event, and from my point of view, as many political and even non-political organizations have declared a position, this is actually an opportunity to actually do this exercise, or it's kind of like it's important to do this exercise, because if we are unable to do that exercise under even such circumstances, then maybe it's something wrong about us calling ourselves political organization. So that's maybe why it is worth to actually explore the processes. But I still we are still kind of like in the procedure, because I see some let's say split on in the opinions what shall be the procedure. So maybe let's move back to that and try to find a solution that could work for us. And we definitely start from different views, and I think it's fully legit, and it's not disgusting. It's just like the way that we started in different parties and maybe different cultures. So it's not to be angry about. Cedric, sorry.
Don't be sorry. Again, don't be sorry. In fact, if I understand Bastian very well, as a board, we can do anything we want. And if we want to ask the council members to vote, why not? We have the possibility to do that, because we can do what we want. Where is the problem, in fact?
May I answer?
Yes, please.
The fact is that you you do not listen to me. I said we take it into account. That means that we ask the council, or we give our decision to the council, or we give our proposal to the council, and we collect their votes. That's it. But it's not no way, because we have no regulation in the statutes that the council itself will collect votes and will advise the board between council meetings what they have to do, what they have to leave, what is to have to resign, whatever. So it's that easy to ask council. We have transparent procedures. I have no idea how there's a misunderstanding in that. We have transparent finances, we have transparent procedures, we have transparent votes. So it's so easy to ask the council, to give the council our proposal, and to ask for a comment for that. And if the comment is negative, we will take it into our account, and we won't vote against the council. But the council has to vote with majority, and I think it's a long time procedure. So if you want to react tomorrow, maybe it's a problem, but it's nevertheless it's possible to give it to the council members, and who is reacting is okay. But it's not a procedure that we get a vote from the council. Therefore, we need several weeks, and that makes no sense. Thank you.
I mean, what I can imagine for future as a solution would be that we call a permanent council meeting. So we really call it according to statutes, and that permanent council meeting will, using the asynchronous tool, effectively decide those things, like this one. The only problem is that we haven't called for such a permanent meeting yet. And to call for a meeting, we need to actually use the the time period of 1 month, which is described in the statutes. So that's not really an answer for this particular meeting. Sorry, Cedric, I'm blocking you from speaking.
I totally agree with your proposal about a permanent council meeting, but this is not the discussion, but we need to implement that in my point of view. Further, we need to go forward, so we need discussion at some point, but I would like to say that, in fact, I don't care about calling for a council meeting. We are not speaking about that. We are speaking about calling the council members, the Pirate Party's members of the PPEU, to ask to vote under the law of the board. The board decide how it will be decided to vote pro or against the statement, and that's all. We are not for this this point, we are not into a council meeting. We are not calling for a council meeting. We are not taking times to make a great 2 days speech, dispute, and so on. We are just asking, this is a statement, are you for it or against it? Right now, 2 days for the vote. We will send some mails and so on to cast the vote, and that's all. That's all. And it's under the board supervision. It's not a council meeting. It's the board asking a vote. That's all.
Yeah, I think we are kind of like mostly on the same page. I mean, like we are all agreed on that the council shall express its will. The only question which remains is whether this expression of will shall be called vote or not. I mean, basically, as I understand it, the question is whether the decision will be binding as a council decisions or non-binding. That's the matter of the dispute, if I understand it correctly.
For me, because you ask a question, it's binding the board to the decision of the council members.
Yes. For Bastian, it seems that it is non-binding, and my suggestion how to move forward would be, well, let's vote as the board that we will consider that decision to be binding, and then we resolve this issue for now, and we can move forward. Alessandro, sorry, I'm blocking you for speaking.
No, sorry. But the thing is, it's very, it's very, I mean, weird. Imagine we are only 6, right, here, and we are discussing almost an hour because this is a very important topic, right? We do not agree on a single position. Otherwise, we as a board just made a statement 1 hour ago, okay, condemning, I don't know, probably US, if not Russia or Ukraine, right? To always be in our political decision. There, like it happens since World War II, US is taking political battle on a European playground. It was, of course, to free all of us. Yes, so did Krasny Army in German. But how we are expressing to force all our members, maybe 20 members, to vote on this in just 2 hours. We prepare a statement and they simply have to vote. Don't you think that they deserve also discussion, right? Otherwise, it's say, oh yeah, it's like, okay, take or leave. We as a board, we prepare this statement for you. I would like to change it probably, right? because it's important. If it's important for us, why shouldn't it be important for them, right? And that's moved to the first point. Democracy is also a matter of participation, right? Or not?
Well, from my point of view, in order to express those like feelings, we are calling that respective working group. That was the idea. Okay. Well, very well. Exile. Okay, so yeah, we really got too deep into the procedure. So I mean, again, I would maybe reiterate the question whether we can go out of this procedure that way. That now we agree that we will consider the expression of will of the council to be binding, and then and use this as, let's say, a bypass for this procedural dispute we have. Is it possible to do it like that for both Bastian and Cedric? So yes, seems to be acceptable for Cedric.
We decide to call for a working group. That's it for me, and I think we should wait for the result. It should be done as soon as possible. Then it goes to the board, and the board can, meanwhile, go to the council and say, "Hey, we are doing something. Please comment that. We appreciate it very much if you have a comment that we do the right decision," and so on. So that's I think we can do as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yes, I would phrase now. I would phrase now a motion for the board, which would state the board will consider will of the council regarding the motion prepared by the working group to be binding. And I hope. No, the previous vote is not cancelled. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's the one which is cancelled. Yes, true. Sorry.
I mean, should we we were voting on should the statement be approved by the board or the council? So this vote is cancelled, right?
Yes, that's the one which is cancelled, and simply the expression of will of the council shall be considered to by the board to be binding. And I mean, like we have like this diverging discussion regarding the asynchronous tool moved forward, and we need to move forward, but not today, because today it's too late. Sorry for to you all for dragging you into this procedural hell. Sorry for that. Flori?
You don't have to be sorry for having a lot of procedure. It's democracy. Democracy needs procedure. So I think I have to leave now for the moment. So I think it will be a good idea to speak about this situation on the next meeting. And for the moment, have the we should just decide of the next date for the next meeting. I don't know. I don't think we will be productive for the moment about this situation.
Yep. That was exactly my intention. I think we are just at the end of the of what is possible to manage. So I would just do this vote and then go directly to the discussion about like what are we going to, or when are we going to do the next meeting? Because this was, oh, sorry for that. Didn't really expect it that it will turn out into such a procedural hell. So maybe vote in the line 129 on the let's say way how to move procedurally forward. Maybe the phrasing "let it vote" is problematic. I mean, like maybe it should be written there. Let it express the will. Let it express its will. So sorry for that. Maybe restart the vote. Sorry for that. We can't vote yes or no on this question, like the new version.
In fact, if I may, it seems that we use not only yes or no in France. We use maybe yes, it will bind us. No, it won't bind us. That's all.
Yeah. Should it be binding? Yeah, well, just sorry for that.
No, sorry, it's I didn't see the next vote.
No, we are still in 126. We are just
Yes, I didn't
how
see
to rephrase it. Sorry.
I'm really tired. I have to work tomorrow. I want to sleep and just eat for the moment.
Sorry for that.
I'm sorry for that.
I'm so sorry. I do apologize. So
Don't be sorry, please.
we are at line 127 in the we will show the result of working group on the council and let it express its will. Should it be binding? Yes. So we are voting. There are four votes in favor. How many people are here? One is abstaining. So Jan, could you please cast the vote? And same for Peter and at the end. Okay.
No, Etienne is not here. It's only
exile. It's exile. Sorry, it's E, which is, and the name is hidden. Okay. Sorry. Okay, there are 6 times in favor. So obviously, the expression of the will of the council will be taken as as binding by the board. So now I'm moving or putting forward a procedural motion. Let's skip the points 4, 5, and 6 of the agenda and go directly to the point 7.
Yes. Sorry, Mikosh. There's a point we have to discuss. Maybe next meeting or in between. There are discussions in the German Party and the European Pilot whatever board. Are the discussions about what could be done at the beginning of the Czech EU presidency. So we have to discuss it maybe, and that's only we shouldn't discuss it today. It's too late, but we should keep it in mind that we have good preparation for the next board meeting. Thank you.
For sure, actually, there is a pirate working group on the Czech presidency. So I think I could manage to organize it that way that is more open also for non-Czech pirates, because so far it was kind of like Czechish issue and that's probably not good. So maybe I will just push for that so that it is more open to the others. I hope it will work. Okay, next meeting. Doodle, what do you think about the next meeting scheduled by Doodle?
Yes, as I pointed out at the beginning of the meeting, Tuesdays and Mondays are no way for German Pirates because we are fully established in meetings in this both days. Even Tuesday, we have normally up to 5 meetings a day. So it makes no sense to have a meeting on Tuesday. Otherwise, no German pilot can participate in the board meeting in the future. I have no problem with that. I can see the minutes and I can look to or can hear the recording. No problem about that. But that's my point of view. Thank you.
Okay, that would be very inconvenient. I mean, like we need to find a way. A simple point taken. Let's fill the doodle, and hope we will find a solution for the other days that would work for you as well. Peter?
I don't want to say something about the scheduling, but I had a couple of stuff that I wanted to mention for the working groups and that I really wanted to say. So dropping it just like that is not really good for me, to be honest.
I understand. I mean, like the only problem is that we kind of like talk like 2 hours, and already people are really needing to go to the work. Maybe could you just
Well, I can say quick. It's a quick.
Yeah, please do.
First thing, I was trying to communicate with a couple of the people of the board to get towards the email list. No answers. Could please somebody help me to clarify, to introduce me into the secret topic of the email list so I could use them for stuff that I wanted to do? That would be very nice because I'd like to communicate with some of the parties and I don't have the access to it. First thing. Second thing, I need to clarify stuff regarding the Twitter rights, the Facebook rights, and the access to it. As a head of the working groups of media, I don't have the rights and I need them. And as well, I need to clarify with somebody the publishing process of that because that's also not clear to me. And I also couldn't reach anybody. Nobody's answering. Those are the topics. That's in very quick way.
I see. That's very legit. What we need to do is so to say hand over of the all respective working groups because that had not yet happened. So basically, we have some people who are responsible for the working groups, but we did not do a proper onboarding and transferring of the documentation. And I'm afraid that I'm probably the only one who is kind of like capable to do it. So let's do it in a following way. Prior to the next meeting, you all who are supposed for the respective working groups responsible for respective working groups, please contact me and ask who are the respective contact persons on the side of the MEPs, where are the credentials, and how to log into the respective IT systems. And me and Bastian, we will help you as much as possible. Sorry, Hanzo, and then Bastian.
Yeah, kick me in the ass. So it's easy. Maybe we have not pay attention enough for that, but it's just administration problem. So Peter, believe me, I have a lot of things to do. But if you will call me, we will solve everything you want to have. And if we cannot solve that problem, we will take care for that anybody else will solve the problem. So it's easy. Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's no problem at all. It came out weird because I was trying to be quick. That's
yeah,
all.
but sometimes it's a little bit complicated how it works. So let's talk it. We can find a date that we talk. Face to face. So that I can find out what's your problem is. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding.
I don't have a problem. I just to move forward with some of the stuff that I work on.
I understand that. Don't worry. I understand very well. So ask me maybe on Wednesday or on the weekend. So I'm available for that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We together with Bastian shall be able to provide you everything you need, and that applies not only for you but everybody who kind of like got a responsibility for any working group. Honza, please.
I just wanted to say regarding the emailing lists, at least my experience in the past year was that not very many people read the mailing lists, or at least like a lot of people told me like if I want to get if I want them to read my message, I should not use emails from mailing lists.
Is it somehow relevant? I mean, like I could maybe just end up the meeting and let the people who want to sleep, eat, or whatsoever go, and we can have an informal discussion further on.
Yeah, I would stay here for a moment that we can solve little problems very quickly. Otherwise, we can see when we can meet us. So just an offer for you.
Yes, I'm here. So if it works. So I'm officially closing the meeting, and anything needed by let's say an operational can be resolved now. So we can stop the recording as well.
You stay the night at his house with no ride to work, and I'm the one who tells you he's another jerk. But you're the one who can succeed. You've only got to prove your need. Trading up for what you hope is love is just another thing that he'll be careless of. But though the caveats galore, you've only got to love him more. Spend some time dissecting every word he said. And if he seemed a little strange, well, baby, anyone can change. And you do. You really do.